Every morning, the universe hands you a blank page. What you write on it becomes your life. So what are you telling yourself before the world tells you who you are? Your mind believes what you tell it most, especially in the silence of the morning. Before the demands, distractions, and doubts creep in, you have a sacred window of power where your words become seeds and your thoughts become the blueprint for your reality. The first 4 things you say to yourself each morning don't just shape your mood, they define your mindset, your decisions, your discipline, and your destiny. In the teachings of ancient masters and modern psychology alike, one principle remains the same. You become what you repeatedly declare. These are not mere affirmations. They are spiritual commands, warrior creeds, reminders of who you truly are before the noise of the world convinces you otherwise. Say these 4 things with conviction and your entire life will begin to shift. Number 1, I am the architect of my inner world. Every single morning, before the world begins to speak into your life, before social media feeds your mind a version of success or beauty, before emails and deadlines start shaping your thoughts, you must remind yourself of this eternal truth. I am the architect of my inner world. Because the way you build your inner temple determines how you walk through the outer chaos. Most people wake up and immediately hand their mind over to the world. They scroll, they compare, they react. And in doing so, they unconsciously become tenants in a house they no longer control. But you are not here to be a tenant. You are the builder, the designer, the one who lays the bricks of thought and seals the foundation of your mindset every single day. This is your sacred responsibility, and it is where your true power lives. Not in changing others, not in fixing every problem around you, but in claiming your space within. When you begin your day by telling yourself that you are the architect of your inner world, you shift from victimhood to vision, from reaction to creation. This declaration reminds you that no one gets to decide how you feel today except you. No comment, no traffic jam, no rejection, no unexpected turn of events has the authority to storm into your emotional house unless you open the door. And so you guard it with discipline, you design it with clarity, you protect it with peace. You understand that the thoughts you entertain are either bricks that build you or wrecking balls that break you. And you choose accordingly. You choose silence over noise, breath over panic, gratitude over frustration. You are not perfect, and that is not required. What's required is awareness, intention, ownership. You no longer allow your mind to be a dumping ground for fear or anger or drama. You make it a sanctuary, a place where strength is practiced, where patience is poured, where vision is shaped, and peace is planted. Even if everything around you is chaotic, you refuse to let that chaos take root inside. Why? Because you are the architect. You have the blueprints. You've chosen the foundation, unshakable values, non-negotiable boundaries, and a mindset that doesn't bend every time pressure hits. Some days, the storms will come. That's inevitable. But when the inner world is built on purpose and not emotion, those storms won't destroy you, they'll pass over you. And so every morning, before the world tries to tell you who you are or how you should feel, you look in the mirror and affirm it with full conviction. I am the architect of my inner world. Today I build peace. Today I build strength. Today I build self-respect. And if anyone or anything tries to invade that space, they'll realize I am no longer a servant to emotional chaos. I am the master of my mental kingdom. You look in the mirror and affirm to emotional chaos, I am the master of my mental kingdom. You look in the mirror and affirm. This is not about being cold or distant. It's about being clear. Clear about your power, clear about your presence, clear about the energy you allow in and the identity you are building. This identity is not shaped by your past. It's shaped by your present choices. Every thought you feed, every belief you reinforce, every reaction you reclaim, that's construction. That's architecture. And every morning you remind yourself of this power, the weaker your insecurities become. The louder your inner voice gets, the calmer your reactions feel. You don't just survive your day, you shape it from the inside out. And when you start to live from this space, life no longer knocks you off balance. You begin to lead yourself, steady and grounded through anything. That is the power of living as the architect of your inner world. And that power begins the moment you say it, believe it, and act on it. So every single morning, nothing and no one outside me determines my worth. In a world obsessed with validation, approval, likes, titles, and applause, the most radical act of self-liberation is to wake up each morning, look yourself in the mirror, and declare with unwavering conviction, nothing and no one outside me determines my worth. Because the moment you root your value in external things, the attention of others, your bank balance, your relationship status, your appearance, your job title, you hand over the keys to your self-esteem to forces that are always changing, always shifting, and never guaranteed. You become a slave to opinion, a prisoner to praise. You let the world tell you whether or not you should feel confident today, whether or not you deserve rest, whether or not you're enough. But here's the truth. You were born worthy. Before any achievement, before any mistake, before anyone clapped for you. Your worth is not a resume you built. It is your birthright. And when you understand that, truly internalize it, you begin to walk through life with a different kind of energy. Not arrogance, not ego, but quiet, grounded certainty. You no longer beg for recognition because you've already recognized yourself. You stop trying to earn love because you've already decided to love yourself without conditions. You stop chasing success to feel important and start pursuing purpose because your importance is no longer in question. You see, when you attach your worth to anything outside of you, you set yourself up for emotional bankruptcy because all of it can be taken. People leave, trends fade, jobs change, status crumbles, and if your value is tied to any of those things, you collapse with them. But when you anchor your worth within, when you choose every single morning to say, I am enough, not because of what I've done, but because of who I am, then no loss, no rejection, no failure can unmake you. You realize that self-worth isn't arrogance. It's alignment. It's knowing that the universe doesn't make mistakes and that your very existence is proof of value. And yes, people will doubt you. Yes, they will misunderstand you. They may even try to tear you down. But when your identity is no longer up for auction, the opinions of others lose their power. You stop adjusting who you are to fit in. You stop performing to be loved. You stop chasing applause and start attracting respect. Not because you demand it, but because you've become a mirror of self-respect. And this doesn't mean you won't feel the sting of criticism or rejection. It means those things no longer define you. They become data, not identity. You can listen without losing yourself. You can reflect without collapsing. You can grow without questioning your value, because deep down, you've made the decision that no matter who walks away, no matter what the world says, no matter what happens externally, your inner dialogue stays the same. I am whole. I am worthy. I am complete. That's not delusion. That's power. That's the foundation of unshakable confidence, because it is no longer reactive. It is chosen. And when you carry that energy into your day, you operate from a different place. You say no without guilt. You pursue goals without needing applause. You show up with authenticity because you're no longer performing for acceptance. You're expressing from wholeness. And maybe most importantly, you begin to treat yourself like someone who matters. Not someday, not when you finally make it, but now. You speak to yourself with kindness. You forgive yourself without punishment. You rest without apology. You begin to rise, not out of insecurity or desperation, but from alignment with your truest self. And that version of you, that version cannot be manipulated, cannot be bought, cannot be broken by outside noise, because their worth is not on the market, their value is not a debate. So every morning, before the world gets a chance to put its labels on you, before you open yourself to comparison or critique, remind yourself loudly, clearly, boldly, that nothing and no one outside me determines my worth. And then live your day from that truth. Speak from it, breathe from it, build from it, because when your worth is self-declared, your power becomes untouchable. Number 3, everything I need is already within me. There comes a moment in every person's life where the noise must stop, the comparisons must end, and the chase must cease, because you finally realize the truth that has been quietly waiting for you to remember. Everything I need is already within me. This is not just a comforting phrase. It is a spiritual fact, a psychological anchor, and a warrior's code that reminds you that you are not broken, not lacking, not behind, and not missing some essential piece to move forward. The world will constantly try to convince you that you need more confidence, more time, more experience, more credentials, more validation before you can begin, before you can speak up, before you can stand tall, before you can claim your place. But this is the greatest lie we've been sold, that you must become someone else in order to be whole. The truth is, from the very beginning, life planted within you everything required for your path. Strength, wisdom, courage, resilience, creativity, intuition, and an unshakable spirit that refuses to die, no matter how much you've been hurt, doubted, or delayed. When you wake up each morning and remind yourself that everything you need is already within you, you are reclaiming the energy that has been scattered, chasing outside solutions to internal questions. You are silencing the voice that says you are not ready, not worthy, not enough. You are affirming that your journey is not about becoming something new. It's about remembering who you already are. Beneath the fear, beneath the doubt, beneath the conditioning. This inner truth is not always loud, but it is steady. It is the calm voice that rises when everything else falls apart. It's the quiet strength that carried you through your darkest nights. The internal compass that guided you even when you didn't know where you were going. And the inner flame that refused to go out, even when life poured its coldest waters over you. Say it. Everything I need is already within me. That means I don't need to wait for permission. I don't need to be fixed. I don't need to pretend. I need to return to alignment, to clarity, to the source of my own power. And from that place, I begin again, not as a desperate seeker, but as a grounded creator. This doesn't mean you'll never need support or help from others. No warrior walks alone. But it does mean you stop outsourcing your identity to the world. You stop believing that your peace lives in someone else's presence, that your confidence depends on someone else's praise, that your purpose is defined by someone else's map. When you internalize this truth, you stop being reactive and start becoming responsive. You stop panicking when challenges appear and start pulling from your inner resources, your patience, your discipline, your creativity, your problem-solving mind, your resilient heart. You realize that life doesn't require you to be perfect. It requires you to trust the process of revealing the strength that's already embedded in you. Even your flaws, your scars, your failures become part of the design. They don't subtract from your power, they shape it. Every moment you thought would break you was actually breaking open new awareness, deeper humility, greater wisdom. So when you say, everything I need is already within me, you are not ignoring your wounds. You are acknowledging that they too have added to your inner arsenal. And from that understanding, you walk into your day not with hesitation but with presence. You breathe deeper, you stand taller, you act with greater intention, not to prove yourself to anyone, but to honor the self you already are. You no longer look to the future for your wholeness. You look inside and you bring that wholeness into your present actions. This is the power of aligned living, of waking up each day rooted in the truth that your soul is not waiting to be filled, it's waiting to be accessed. Every gift, every answer, every solution, every ounce of grit and genius required for your next chapter is already in the vault. You just have to open it. And the key is belief. Not blind belief, but deep, embodied, tested belief that comes from knowing you've survived, you've adapted, you've overcome before, and you'll do it again. So before the world tries to make you feel less than, pause, center yourself, and speak this into the mirror of your soul. I am not empty. I am not lacking. I am not waiting. Everything I need is already within me. And then walk into your day like someone who remembers that truth. Speak with conviction. Move with courage. Create with joy. And return to that mantra anytime you feel lost. Because that's the map that always leads you back home to yourself. Number 4. Today, I plant energy. I don't chase outcomes. In a world addicted to results, where worth is measured by productivity and success is defined by speed, the most powerful shift you can make each morning is to realign yourself with the truth that your job is not to chase outcomes, but to plant energy, to show up fully, to give your best presence, and to let go of the illusion of control over what happens next. When you wake up and tell yourself, today I plant energy, I don't chase outcomes, you immediately free yourself from the toxic grip of anxiety, overthinking, and pressure to constantly win or achieve. You anchor yourself in the present moment, the only place where life actually happens. You no longer rush through tasks just to check boxes or manipulate moments hoping for validation. You pour your energy, your focus, your care into the process itself, knowing that what you sow in intention, you will eventually reap in results. It's not about giving up on goals or ambition. It's about understanding that chasing results often pulls you out of alignment, out of peace, and into burnout, while planting energy grounds you in purpose, flow, and trust. You see, outcomes are never fully in your control. Life has its own timing, its own tests, its own terrain. But your energy, that's yours. That's your power. That's your offering to every moment, every conversation, every effort you make today. So instead of saying, will this work? You say, am I giving my full energy right now? Instead of obsessing over likes, numbers, or recognition, you ask, is this rooted in truth and integrity? Instead of fearing what might go wrong, you commit to doing what feels right, because you know that when your energy is clean, your results will take care of themselves. Some days the fruit shows up immediately. Other days it hides beneath the surface, growing roots in silence. But whether or not you can see it yet, know this: every honest effort matters. Every breath of focused energy you plant into your work, your relationships, your health, your purpose, it's building something. And just because you can't measure it instantly doesn't mean it isn't growing. This is where trust becomes your superpower. Trust that the right people will recognize your light. Trust that the timing is working even when the results aren't immediate. Trust that the energy you give today is shaping a future you can't yet see. And even if today doesn't unfold the way you planned, you still win. Because you didn't betray yourself. You stayed rooted. You gave pure energy. You showed up with intention, not desperation. That's what it means to live as a cultivator, not a chaser. A cultivator rises with focus and purpose, tends to what matters, and lets go of the rest. A chaser wakes up frantic, trying to force timelines and outcomes, always in a hurry, always at the mercy of the external. But not you. Not today. Today, you breathe deeper, you move slower but stronger. You stop scattering your attention in 1,000 directions and instead pour it like sunlight into one sacred space at a time. You trust the power of energy over the illusion of control. You speak less but mean more. You act without clinging to results. And this doesn't make you passive, it makes you powerful. Because when your energy is rooted in presence and purpose, you become magnetic. You stop chasing and you start attracting. You stop proving and you start embodying. You realize that all you ever really needed was within you. And now that energy, that stillness, that clarity begins to touch everything around you. People feel it, work improves, stress softens. And the more you live from that place, the more you start seeing something profound. Outcomes begin to align with you, not because you forced them, but because you stopped blocking them with resistance and fear. So today, say it again: I plant energy. I don't chase outcomes. I show up fully. I release expectations. I work with love, not pressure. I move with alignment, not ego. And whatever comes will come. Not because I chased it, but because I was ready for it. This is the mindset that creates not just success, but peace, joy, and longevity. It's not about doing more. It's about doing it with deeper presence. And when you master that, the outcomes you used to chase begin to chase you. From the dawn of civilization, across ancient cultures, spiritual traditions, and religious teachings, the morning has always held sacred power. A window where the soul is most receptive and the mind most moldable. In Eastern philosophy, especially within the Shaolin and Zen traditions, morning rituals are not simply habits. They are spiritual disciplines designed to align the internal energy, or Qi, before engaging with the outer world. These disciplines have roots in Taoist and Buddhist teachings, where the cultivation of inner stillness, self-awarenessness, and intention setting at the beginning of the day is seen as the foundation for mastering both the self and life. Similarly, in the Vedic tradition of India, morning mantras like Soham, I am that, were chanted at dawn to remind the individual of their divine nature and dissolve the illusion of lack. The first thoughts after waking were considered sacred seeds capable of shaping karma and consciousness. In Christianity, Jesus often retreated to pray in solitude early in the morning, Mark 1:35, modeling the importance of internal alignment and divine communication before any outward action. Psalms 5:3 says, In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice, reinforcing that early morning affirmations and prayers are spiritually powerful moments of co-creation with God. The Quran also highlights the significance of the early hours and the recitation of the Quran at dawn. Indeed, it is ever witnessed, Quran 17:78, suggesting that the vibrations of one's morning intentions are heard not only by the divine, but also by the universe itself. In Judaism, the practice of Modeh-Ani, a prayer recited immediately upon waking, expresses gratitude for the return of the soul and a reaffirmation of purpose, echoing the power of spoken words to set the tone for the day. Indigenous cultures too have long taught the power of sunrise rituals. Native American traditions honor the east direction and the rising sun as the giver of life, vision, and new beginnings, reminding us that each morning is a spiritual reset. Even the Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, emphasized morning reflection as a practice of self-commandment and inner strength. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. The thread that binds all these traditions is the understanding that the first words we speak to ourselves each morning are not trivial. They are sacred tools of self-definition, divine invocation, and energy alignment. Saying, "I am the architect of my inner world," taps into the ancient Buddhist idea of the mind as the forerunner of all things. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. Declaring, "Nothing and no one outside me determines my worth," reflects teachings found in the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna reminds Arjuna that the wise remain unmoved by praise or blame, as their value is not defined by external validation, but by inner alignment. Affirming "everything I need is already within me" echoes the perennial wisdom of the Upanishads, which teach that the Atman, the inner self, is one with Brahman, the ultimate reality, and that divinity is not something to be found outside, but remembered within. Finally, the statement, "Today I plant energy, I don't chase outcomes," channels the principle of non-attachment present in both Hinduism and Zen Buddhism, where intention and present momentum effort are honored above fixation on results. As reflected in the Bhagavad Gita's timeless teaching, "You have a right to your labor, but not to the fruits of your labor." 247. Each of these morning affirmations stands not only as a personal declaration, but as a timeless invocation rooted in the spiritual wisdom of civilizations past. They are not motivational cliches. They are ancient truths, rediscovered and applied to modern life, meant to remind the soul that power, peace, and clarity are not earned from the outside, but awakened from within. And each morning, through the intentional act of speaking these truths aloud, we reconnect to that deep reservoir of strength, purpose, and divine alignment that has always been ours to claim. As the sun rises each day, you are given more than just light. You are given a new chance, a clean slate, and a sacred invitation to shape your inner world before the outer world gets a hold of you. The four powerful truths. I am the architect of my inner world. Nothing and no one outside me determines my worth. Everything I need is already within me, and today I plant energy. I don't chase outcomes. They are spiritual disciplines, mental armor, and soul declarations that have been echoed through centuries of wisdom and human experience. But words alone are not enough. The real transformation begins when you move from repeating these truths to living them. Let these words become the lens through which you view the world and yourself. Speak them not just in the quiet morning, but carry them into your work, your relationships, your decisions, and your moments of doubt. Speak them when no one claps, Speak them when the day feels heavy. Speak them when you're tempted to look outside for what only exists inside. Here is some lasting advice. Make your mornings sacred. Before the phone, before the rush, give your soul time to speak. Even 5 minutes of stillness can recalibrate your entire day. Be gentle with yourself. Growth is not linear. Some days you will forget. That's okay. What matters is your return. Stay rooted in truth, not trend. These affirmations are eternal principles. Don't let fleeting emotions or external noise make you doubt them. Trust the process. What you plant in silence will bloom in its season. Don't chase, align. Don't force, flow. Protect your energy. Not everyone deserves access to your mind. Guard your mornings like you would a sacred temple. Closing prayer. Divine Creator, source of all light and truth, as I begin this new day, I return to the center of who I am. I release all burdens from yesterday, all fears about tomorrow, and anchor myself in this moment. Thank you for breath, for clarity, for another opportunity to live with intention. Strengthen my mind to think truth, not fear. Strengthen my heart to feel love, not lack. Strengthen my soul to remember that I am whole, I am worthy, I am equipped, and I am enough. Let every word I speak today plant peace. Let every step I take carry purpose. Let every encounter I have reflect compassion. I now step forward not chasing outcomes, but sowing powerful energy, trusting that what is meant for me will unfold in divine timing. Today, I walk as the architect of my inner world. Amen. Speak these words daily, live them deeply, and watch your mornings not just change your mood, but transform your life.